right, every Gumball fan. What is your least favorite episode for this zone? Oh, let me guess. It's the girlfriend, right? Well, what if I tell you that you have misunderstood that episode this entire time? I'm glad that the dislike counter is gone, or else this would not be a pleased sight to us. Greeting, my fellow stars! When I was rewatching Season 4 of the Amazing World of Gumball for a future video, I was kind of nervous to watch The Girlfriend again because apparently it's the worst Gumball episode based on a general feedback. However, after I finished watching that episode, I did hate it, but rather, I found a major flaw of the main reason why people hated The Girlfriend. That's kind of confusing, but stay with me. So, in this video, I will be discussing the flaw and why I did is, for a lack of a better term, silly. Before we start, I want to mention this. I'm not saying that your opinion is wrong for hating The Girlfriend. Your opinion is completely valid, but in this case, I don't think that is legitimate. Maybe you just hate the episode for a different reason, which is fine by me. Let's start with discussing the main reason why fans hate The Girlfriend. You know what? Fans didn't even pay attention to that episode until a certain YouTuber discussed why he hated it. Now every fan seems to hate The Girlfriend. Now, the main reason why fans hate The Girlfriend is that it supposedly sends a bad message that you shouldn't say anything when you're in an abusive relationship. Don't give me one. I do understand what you were going for. Abusive relationships are never a good thing to experience at all. There are ways to handle it, but one that isn't staying silent. But I believe that there's a major thing that you didn't consider when you made your argument. And this flaw will make it seem more like a nitpick than anything else. The flaw being that Jamie is a slow thinker. We see this happen at the start of the episode and listen to what Carmen say once Jamie find out what she needs to do.
That was way more time than we needed.
See? And this isn't a one-time thing either, as it happens 2 more times in this episode. The scene where Gumball asks Jamie why coconuts aren't mammals, and during the climax. I would like to mention that The Girlfriend was the first episode where that part of Jamie's personality was revealed. Before that, she was just a layered bully character. But since people are so fixated on the substance that is sending a bad message to kids, that part tends to get overshadowed a lot. That is why I mentioned that in my last top 10 worst Gumball episodes video in the first place. Though I just noticed this part of Jamie's calendar says Lisa Lee, but my place still stands for that BO. Speaking of the bad messes, that stands for what Darwin sees here.
Simple. Her problem is that she doesn't understand love, so the best thing to do is to wait quietly until she works it out for herself.
On face value, this guy does look like the episode is sending a bad message on how to handle abusive relationships. But when you consider that Jamie is a slow thinker, but the very beginning of the episode, Darren was actually in the light there. In fact, in the HUD, Darren is capable of being predictable, and guess what happens in the climax? Jamie finally understood what love is. But since most people jump into conclusions based on one YouTuber's opinion on the girlfriend, they wouldn't think twice of figuring out Jamie's calendar before forming their own opinion on it. And that is why I'm not really much of a fan of parasocial relationships. But that's a time for another video. And this does sound insane, but if you think that a cartoon episode made for kids is sending a bad message on how to handle abusive relationships, then clearly you're being hypercritical. While Gumball can get mad at times, it doesn't really take itself too seriously. Episodes such as the John, the Countdown, and the Boy so that it says a cartoon show that follows cartoon logic, rather than being alternate to real life, which is a reason why Gumball is my favorite cartoon show of all time. So this entire video is just me saying that people have misunderstood the girlfriend in terms of Jamie's personality, and it's just assumed that it's sending a bad message to kids on how to handle abusive relationships. Of course, abusive relationships are a serious problem, so I will give you some actual ways to handle it. Try to talk to your abusive partner about how their behavior hurts you. Get support for your friends and family. And if all else fails, then try to leave the relationship. You can also call a hotline for domestic violence. Though I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show the phone number on screen, but you can go with it. I really hope that all the victims could come out okay someday. Even after you understand Jamie's calendar for this video, you don't have to chase your bill on her or the girlfriend. When I mentioned that I wanted my future reviews and opinion videos to be as fair as possible, I ain't joking. This is one of the few cases that my opinion was actually balanced from a wire standpoint. Sir, I don't like the girlfriend, but I don't hate it either, and that's okay. Actual bad episodes usually come by how bad the wire is, whether this is opinion-based. But how well the wire is exactly is very subjective. So I hope you have enjoyed my long labyrinth and gotten a better understanding reminded of what the girlfriend was going for. If you missed my first worst and best Gumball episode video, then you can watch it at the top. Or if you want to see all my Gumball content, then watch the playlist below. With that being said, Spirit Stars, sign off.